John. Okay, so the meeting is recording now. So it is May 21st, and welcome to the presentation about Vermont State Parks and Forests. And I'm going to turn it over to Catherine.
Great. Hello. Sorry, I just had to, I heard a little noise from my phone, and so I was trying to make sure that it was, quiet for this presentation. Hello, I'm Catherine Wrigley. I will be sharing with you a little PowerPoint today. Can you all see it? I always like to double check, even though we're this far in.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm Catherine Wrigley. I'm a forest recreation specialist out of the Essex Junction District Office, and I work for the Department of Forest, Parks, and Recreation. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Parks and Rec, I have another slide in the next slide, which will just explain sort of how we break up the state. But I am lucky enough to mainly focus on recreation on state lands. That's in Camel's Hump State Park, Mount Mansfield State Forest, the west side, so like access from Underhill mainly, and then the state parks that scatter the islands. So it's a pretty lucky day if one day I can be atop Camel's Hump and another I get to be out on a boat. So definitely pinch myself sometimes in the summer. And this presentation today, I'm hoping will create new opportunities for you guys to pinch yourself when you're on state land this summer. So I'm going to go ahead, and I guess if you have questions, put them in the chat, and I'll just ask April to cue me into them, because once I go into this display mode, it's hard for me to see.
And I have the chat open, and I've got my eye on it.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I just started with a brief overview. This is something I'm just doing internally, since you're all state employees. I'm always fascinated learning about the structures of all of these other agencies that I don't know about. So in the Department of Forest, Parks, and Rec, which is in the Agency of Natural Resources, we have 3 divisions. So the 2 biggest divisions are the Vermont State Parks and the Vermont State Forests. And the reason I'm showing you this is just to show that the Vermont State Forests have 5 locations, as you can see, or districts, and then the state parks has 4 regions. And this doesn't really affect you as someone who enjoys the parks, but it's how we think of them in our department, and it's how our staff is split up. And so it also influences how I chose to develop the slideshow, in that I tried to present 1 state park from each region and 1 trail from each district. So you'll notice, since there's 5 districts, there's going to be 1 more trail than there will be state park. And I just wanted you guys to, or you all to know that that was intentional. I'm not trying to short the state parks. And so today I'll be going over 2 tools. One is called Find a State Park, and the other is called Trail Finder. They're both free tools that are provided by the state. And then I'll be sharing 5 trails and 4 state parks that you can explore. So first of all, I'll go to this Find a State Park. Due to connectivity issues, sometimes when I'm presenting, I won't actually go to the website, but this is hot linked, and it's basically just, if you go to VT State Parks and go to the Find a State Park, it's right there on the website. So you'll notice here that there are a lot of little location indicators, which is really exciting. That means no matter where you are zooming in from today, there's likely a state park relatively close to you. And then you might think to yourself, well, it's the summer, I want to do a little exploring, and I really want to go camping and swimming. So I've highlighted camping and swimming over here in yellow, and you would just click those with a little checkbox will come up. And then you'll see that you can't really tell, because in Vermont, we're lucky enough to have so many state parks that have both camping and swimming, but the number of state parks has gotten smaller from the previous slide I just showed you. And then if you decide, well, I don't know, I live in Montpelier, this one looks close and nice. So you go over and you select, this is a little River State Park, but sometimes you don't know what they are. You click on this locator button, and when you click on the locator button, a little information type, and it's really great. It has the title, the name of the park, the phone number. You can check how far away it is from you, because it has the E911 address. It has all the types of activities that can occur there. And then the best part is it has the visit park page down here, this link at the bottom. And that's really great because it takes you to the Vermont State Parks page. And so this is only, I screenshotted this, so I can't scroll down and show you all the amazing information it has. But it does have the basic park info, if pets are permitted. And then you can see that if you got to this page, you would also be able to see getting here. So this gives you directions from a bunch of different locations, all the different activities. So like some locations have like volleyball or horseshoes, while others might allow like horseback riding. And then it has maps and documents. And this will show you campsites as well as trails and other, and usually it has the location of all the activities. So just such a great resource, and right there for free on the internet. And so now the next tool I'll show you. Also, if you raise your hand or something or interrupt me, if you're like, that doesn't make sense, I forgot to say that. So the next tool I'll present is called Trail Finder. And again, this is another tool supported by the state. You'll notice here that it is Vermont and New Hampshire. So when I click on this Start Exploring, you might get a little overwhelmed about how many trails you have, but that's why I'm here with you today to help navigate this tool so that you can actually use it to find a place you would like to go. And just so you know, this is just a screenshot of the page of the Trail Finder main page. And if there is like an emergency or it's mud season or like last year with COVID, there will be like a colored banner at the top. And if you click on that colored banner, it'll take you to a special page that describes the limitations around trails in general, which is a really helpful way to get information. So what you would do here is if you've gone to Trail Finder, I forget if I forgot to tell you, but it's trailfinder.info is the website, nice and easy. So you click Start Exploring and you're like, whoa, Catherine, this is kind of a lot. And you're right, it is. It's showing 760 trails, which you can see over here. So, obviously you can't just click on all of these and figure out what trail. So we have this great tool over here that allows you to find trails. So you can do a drop down and it lists all sorts of trail activities, the difficulty level, accessible, the trail, you can limit the trail distance, see other popular searches that other people have done. And you can also limit it by towns and how close you want to be. So if you're, well, I don't want to drive more than 10 miles from my house, there's that possibility as well. So I chose to fill this in with just walking, easy, under 4 miles, and family friendly, which you can see here. So I used the drop down to do walking, easy, 1 to 4, and family friendly, all towns. So again, this is still showing Vermont and New Hampshire, but it has gone from the 760 trails down to 84 trails. And then you can just click on, so now that's like these numbers, like 4, 13, 4. If you click on a number, it takes you, it zooms into that location and then will show you the specific locator points for different trails. This is actually a part of the state I'm less familiar with. So I just chose a location and it was the Robert Frost Trail. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool. I should probably go check that out. So that's what you do. You click on the location and then this tile pops up similar to the State Park Finder. And instead of having that nice, like go to the web page, the Robert Frost Trail, this is just hyperlinked. So you click on that and it takes you to the Trail Finder page. And again, I had to screenshot this but there is like a description and current weather and contacts, like lots of information down here. There's a brief, quick description up here with the trail activity length, town surface, if pets are there, or if there's a fee. And then you can click on this trail map, which will show you what the trail looks like. For the Robert Frost Trail, I did leave it with the picture. I can't remember the word for this right now, but over here you'll note that you can choose a base map that shows you like the steepness, the topography of a location. So you might want to do that if you're hiking a mountain, but this is a pretty flat location, so you might just want to see like what you're walking past. Trailfinder also has directions on how to get to trailheads, as well as comments. You can post comments or read other people's comments, and then it lists services that might be around or offered at a location. So does anyone have any questions? Those are the two free tools, and then I was just going to get into some of the hiking opportunities.
There's nothing in the chat, but I did post the links that you talked about.
Okay, great. That's so helpful because I wasn't quite sure how to share those, and I did choose this kind of clunkier way of having it in the PowerPoint for fear that my internet might revolt if I tried to do it live.
It always does when you're live.
Right, exactly. All right, so we're going to start our little journey of hiking and state parking, and we're going to start in the southeast corner of Vermont. So that's District 1. It's our Springfield office. So I reached out to my buddies down there, and they suggested this Heldville Trail to Ludlow Mountain, which is in Okemo State Forest in Mount Holly, Vermont. It's a moderate hike. That's about 7 miles round trip out and back, so it's not a loop. And then you have to have your dogs on a leash. This is the topography. Like I told you, Trailfinder shows you both the ortho photos, and then you can also choose to have it show a trail topographically. And I chose this one because we're going up a mountain, so you can tell there's like a steep section and it's long, etc. And what is great about this mountain is there's this really beautiful view at the top. So that could be a great place to get in some steps if you're participating in the wellness challenge like I am in June. This would be a good way to get some of those steps in for your 89 miles in June. Another opportunity in Region 1 is, again, we're in the Springfield office, is the Molly Stark State Park, and that's in Wilmington, Vermont. And I chose this because, again, a friend of mine who works down there told me that he enjoys going to the Mount Olga fire tower. And I thought it was great that it has this campsite here. So you could camp here with your friends or family. They have tenting options as well as lean-tos. And so you could be camping here and then walk right from the campsite up this Mount Olga trail to the fire tower and then come back. All just, walking out your front door more or less, which is an amazing opportunity. And have no fear, I will show you the view from Mount Olga fire tower. So on a good day, this is a view you can get from there. Again, I haven't actually been to this fire tower, but after I found out about this, it's definitely a goal for me to get down there this summer, because I think there's about 8 fire towers in Vermont, and I've been in a handful of them, and I'm never disappointed. So now we'll go up to District 2, which is the Rutland office. Again, I tried to choose locations for a variety of opportunities. So this Black Swamp Trail, again, was suggested by a friend who works down south, as we said. Oh yeah, you work down south. And this is the Black Swamp Trail to Shrewsbury Peak. And this is definitely a trail that's probably not as well used. And so you might have an opportunity to be alone in the woods. It's a moderate hike, about 4 miles. Again, it is another out and back trail. Loop trails can be hard to come by, but you know, it's great to do an out and back as well, seeing the same thing, going 2 different directions. It's always fun to see what you notice, one way versus the other. You access this trailhead via a really nice old CCC road, and you can actually enjoy time in a state natural area because this trail takes you to Shrewsbury Peak Natural Area where you can get a nice view. The trail looks kind of like this, and then of course this shows you that you're entering the Shrewsbury Peak Natural Area. So this might not get you a really amazing view or you know, an alpine summit, but I think it would be a really fun, nice, quiet hike in the woods. So then we'll go to Region 2, which is again the Rutland office. And here I focused on Lake St. Catherine State Park. One of the reasons I thought that I wanted to highlight this is because it has a universally accessible nature trail and disc golf, which we do have universally accessible nature trails in various parks, but disc golf seemed like kind of a fun alternate activity to have at a state park. A lot of times we have volleyball or horseshoes. There's also boat rentals, etc., which is always a big hit. And there's about 50 tent and RV sites and 11 lean-to sites. I keep saying and I know you're not supposed to, but I can't stop myself. Oh, I thought I had a picture. I'm sorry. So I guess no cool picture. You'll just have to imagine what Lake St. Catherine State Park looks like. And then take real picture when you go there. And you can see what's cool about this park too is that they have a series of loops. So, you know, you could be sort of like with a larger group of people or over on some of these smaller loops where it would be a little bit more of a private experience, but still have access to all the opportunities provided by that park. And that's in Poultney. I don't know if I mentioned that. So District 3, this is my district. So I'm like, so I really love the Bean Trail. I'm sort of sharing a secret with you guys. But I love the Bean Trail. It's in Camel's Hump State Park. You access it from Huntington, Vermont. It's an easy hike. It's about 3 miles round trip. It's out and back again, like we've been talking about. And then there isn't a peak or anything, but you can hike to a shelter. And so I thought this could be a really cool opportunity for someone who might be just getting into backpacking and is a little bit nervous. It's only about 1.5 miles in, and then you're in a 4-wall shelter. So you can, and about 1/2 mile of that 1.5 miles in is on a road, like an old forest road. And then there's this nice 4-wall shelter. This is the, there's actually a porch and then like the sleeping areas in back. And there's a privy as well. So anyways, I thought this would be a great opportunity for someone maybe just getting into camping who's a little nervous and only wants to try something short and doesn't have a tent or other things like that. It also could be a great opportunity maybe if you have kids and are thinking like you want to get them into camping, but you know, it just takes so much to get kids out into the woods. So this is a pretty short hike, and then you at least have a really nice shelter when you get there. And there's actually a designated campfire ring as well. So not all shelters in the backcountry you're allowed to have fires at, but this one you are because the location. So again, Region 3, Essex Junction. I chose just to highlight Grand Isle State Park, which is by no means a secret. I think it's one of our largest state parks, but it is right on Lake Champlain. There's almost always, even in this summer, of, you know, a lot of state parks already booking out. Because it is so large, there are usually some tent sites available. I can't speak to the lean-tos. These lean-tos are pretty, those are the type that you need to like make a reservation 11 months in advance. But some of these other lean-tos and the tent sites are likely still available. And they offer camping, there's 115 sites. There's cabins and cottages. Pets are allowed in certain parts. And there's just a lot of activities like fishing, boating. They have well-developed interpretive programs there and volleyball. So a great location for you and your friends or you and your family. Definitely, there's not a lot of hiking here, but it's near which is a spot for bike. There's a lot of fun biking that you can do. So that's like one of the other activities is not necessarily biking in the park, but using the park as a base for maybe some bike exploring of the islands. So District 4, Berry office. My coworker Walter might kill me if I talk about Perry Hill. Perry Hill is a very well loved and well used mountain biking location. It's over in Waterbury, Vermont, and I just wanted to highlight it because even though it is well used already, it is a great resource. There's 10 miles of single track, and it's a great place to do intermediate and expert riding. That's, people really enjoy riding down rocks there, which I'm not good enough at mountain biking to do. Pets are permitted on leash, and the trails here are maintained by the Waterbury Area Trails Alliance, which, if you're not familiar, is a chapter of the Vermont Mountain Biking Association. And I forgot to mention that Birch Glen Camp, which is the one that you can hike to, the 4-wall shelter, that's maintained by the Green Mountain Club, which is maintains the long trail and the side trails. So this is the Perry Hill network. You can see that it's pretty extensive, and it's right next to a river. I have gone biking here and then jumped in this river after biking. And then this is I just want to highlight sort of why people, there's these technical aspects here that aren't available at every mountain biking location. So that's a draw for this particular spot. And then Region 4 is Berry office again. And Region 4 and District 5 and District 4 all share Groton State Forest, which I love. It's a huge state forest out near kind of like Plainfield, Marshfield area. And so what I chose to highlight here was New Discovery State Park, because they actually have horse camping here, which there is not a lot of horse camping offered throughout the state. So I wanted to just highlight this kind of unique opportunity. So you can, for those of you who are like, well, I don't have a horse, I'm not going. There's camping here as well for people without horses, but I mainly highlighted just because it was a horse camping site. You'll notice they have a horseshoe pit, as I keep talking about how state parks have a horseshoe pit. And then what's really cool too about staying in any of these Groton State Forest state parks. So this is New Discovery State Park. And then, so if you are staying at New Discovery, you actually get access to all 5 of the other state parks. And vice versa, if you're staying at Big Deer, you get access to all 5. So it's just kind of like the most bang for your buck. Like if you're trying to go see all the state parks in Vermont, this is a pretty quick way to get 6 in one. And you're also in, I think that Groton State Forest is 25,000 or 30,000 acres. So you're in a really big parcel of contiguous forest. As a forester, I think is very cool. And this is just a picture to show the horses. I was going to say bike camping as I'm like looking at a picture of horses. So this is just a picture of some people who had a great time on a horse camping trip. So District 5, I think this is my last trail that I'm sharing with you. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. I get so excited that sometimes I talk too quickly. It's also a little harder when I can't see you and you can't see me. So this is Bog Pond Trail, which is in Victory State Forest in Victory, Vermont. It's an easy to moderate hike. It's about 6 miles round trip, again and out and back. And I highlighted this one because it's known for birding. So that's kind of another use we haven't touched on yet. And you can hike out here and get a really cool picture and view of the bog. And I don't know about you, but bogs are super cool. They have all sorts of like really specialized flora and fauna. So it would be like a great opportunity to maybe see a bird you haven't seen, but also go out and check out some interesting plants and trees. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention our wildlife management areas. As I mentioned, I'm in the Department of Forest, Parks, and Recreation. And then our sister department is the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And they manage wildlife management areas across the state. I think there's currently 100 of them. And they're managed for the benefit of wildlife. The reason I didn't highlight them here as much for recreation is because they do have a different intention. And so each wildlife management area might have a lot more restrictions on what kind of activities can occur there. They're great for hunting, fishing, wildlife viewing, and photography. And on occasion, there are places with boating. And a lot of times walking is welcome, but most other activities are not. If you wanted to locate a WMA near you, you can check out the Find a Wildlife Management Area page. And they have a way to look. Theirs is a little bit more complicated than the two that I previously showed you, which is why I didn't actually do a stepwise example through them, because I myself, it just didn't look, it wasn't like smooth and easy to show you guys, but they do have a way to find wildlife management areas online. And then also, I just wanted to note that we do have an other power-driven mobility devices policy. ANR makes every effort to provide, ANR being the Agency of Natural Resources, makes every effort to provide reasonable accommodations to allow people with mobility disabilities to access state lands. So if you are or know people with a mobility disability, you can choose a power-driven mobility device, which can range from a personal vehicle to an ATV to a Segway device. And ANR staff have assessed all of our travel routes and created a map of where these devices can be used. And there are hot links here, which maybe I can share out with April, and she can distribute them another way, because obviously you can't use my hot links that are in my PowerPoint right now. But we have a policy, a way to apply for a user pass and a trail map. And yeah, that's it. If anyone has any questions or comments, I'm happy to take them. And if not, that's also right. This was mostly just to remind you all of all the awesome opportunities that we have to get outside in our state. So
thanks. I did want to mention that Vermont Public Libraries also have the Vermont Parks Passes, which is a day pass to Vermont State Parks, and you can visit your local public library to borrow those.
That's an awesome resource.
It's great. And you mentioned one of my favorite trails. I love the Perry trails.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I fear falling on my face, so I usually use them for trail running.
Yeah. Yeah, I went there a long time ago. Oh.
We have some question in the chat. Jessica asked, are there rules or guidance on foraging in state lands?
Oh man, that is a good question. I would have to double check. So I don't want to, my gut says that it's like likely that you're not supposed to forage in state parks, and that foraging and state forests is allowed. And I don't know about WMAs, but I can definitely look into that and get back to April, and she can distribute the answer to that.
Yes, I would be happy to share out any links and information.
Good.
And Erin said, thank you. This was great. And she appreciates your enthusiasm for all of these places. It's fun to hear. And Alyssa said, thank you. This is wonderful information. And Amanda said, thank you for sharing this. Being new to Vermont, I can't wait to explore the state parks.
Oh, awesome. I'm so, you can't see me, but I'm smiling. I don't know. I always, yeah, we have so many resources here. It's always fun to get more people out there. So.
I grew up going to Lake Carmine State Park every
Oh,
summer.
yeah, I love Lake Carmine.
Mm-hmm. Laura says, thank you very much. Exciting to see the pictures and get inspired.
Nice. I should have just used all pictures.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I can stop the recording. And I will send a link out to everyone that was interested so that you can have the link. And then I'll also send out the links from the chat and everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Like I don't know. I'm glad you could sense my enthusiasm because I love this. So thank you all for coming in April. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to, let my fellow coworkers in the broad sense know what's out there in the state that they work so hard for the people who live here.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this presentation, and thank you to everyone who signed up.